You are Locked On Mavericks Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Dallas, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, after one of the worst trades in NBA history, Mavs fans had to endure one of the worst games in recent history. 144 to 101. The Mavs were shocked in Cleveland by the Cavs. 144 to 101, the final. Welcome in to the Mavs Postcast, your team every day, and of course, in our case, your team every game. I'm Jeff Biggs. Thank you for watching Locked On Sports Dallas, your destination after every single game. You can also find us on the Locked On Mavs podcast feed, and today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Well, coming up on our episode today, we'll talk a little bit about the game. Not that much, to be honest with you. The game was kind of an afterthought. The NBA world, Mavs world, the entire sports world is still abuzz after the stunning trade of Luka Doncic to the Lakers. That is the big takeaway, and that's what we are going to get into here on our episode. So let's jump right into it. So I've been up and listening to everything and reading as much as I can and just trying to find out every little nugget, every little thing I could find out, just trying to find some way to make sense of this trade, to try to figure out what's going on. I want to commend Nick Anstedt and the crew, Isaac, slightly biased, the whole crew. Outstanding work overnight and also again today. Great job by them. And also want to invite you to join us via the comment crew. Want to get your thoughts on the trade. So look, I know other people have already weighed in. For me, it's pretty simple. The bottom line is the Mavs did not want to go all the way with Luka. His max contract was coming up over the summer, 4 or 5 years, $345 million roughly. And look, they're not going to say things publicly. You know, they're not going to do that. They're not going to come out and go publicly, even though Nico Harrison, the GM, and Jason Kidd, they spoke today. They're not going to come out and say why they really made the trade. It's just not going to happen. You know, you may get a little, anonymous sources, and they may leak a couple things here and there along the way, but they're not going to come out and say what really happened. So you have to use wisdom, common sense, and discernment. I thought Nick made a great point. Not only is this on paper the worst trade in NBA history, but as Nick pointed out, Nico Harrison is obviously not that stupid. I mean, the one thing that I keep getting back to is Nico has thrown in a couple of times now, well, we want to win it now. Well, there's no way. I mean, you hope that Anthony Davis can come back. And I mean, he will. We hope that he can play at a high level. But even when AD does come back this season, this team's not going to win a championship with AD. I mean, and let me say this, and I hope I'm wrong, but clearly now this is Kyrie's team for the foreseeable future, unless they make another trade by the end of the week, or if they make another huge move in the offseason. I know they have depth, love the guys in the team. I'm down with all that, but even with AD and Kyrie, this team is not going to win a championship. I'm sorry. I hope I'm wrong, but that's not enough. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. So, I mean, the win now sounds great, but you need more talent, and you just gave, one of the top 5 players in the league who's 25 years old to the Lakers. So, I mean, that's just keeping it real. That's me. I don't see it. Now, here's the thing where I hope I'm wrong. So now that it's Kyrie's team, for those of you that have watched or listened, ever since Luka went out on Christmas Day, I've been saying, okay, I would love to see at some point, kind of Kyrie take it to another level, right? And just go nuts and just go for 50, go for 60. I know he's older now. I know he's not young Kyrie or even Kyrie a few years ago, where he was leading a team and all that, but he's still awesome. And you can see that, I mean, he can pretty much score at will, right? Well, then, like literally like 2 days or 3 games after I said that, right? That's when he had the back issue. That's when all of a sudden the bulging disc came up. So Kyrie didn't play today, in case you missed it. He was out. PJ Washington was out. Daniel Gafford was out. I've never, ever seen a team have so many guys miss so many games with injuries, and we haven't even hit the All-Star break yet. We're still like a couple weeks away from that. I mean, it's unreal. So that aside, and I'm not trying to be a hater here. I'm just, I'll get to my point in a minute. But now that this is Kyrie's team, then he's going to have to score more and facilitate, handle the ball, get everybody going. Obviously, work in AD, who wants to play the 4, not the 5. And who knows? Maybe, you know what? Maybe Kyrie will do that. Maybe AD will come back motivated with a chip on his shoulder, because he was basically, sent out of LA. Like, yeah, we don't want you anymore. And maybe he can still ball out. We'll see. But beyond that, other people have said this. We're not gonna know really about this trade for a long time, years probably, because Luka's 25 years old. And it's interesting because, like, I was kind of thinking of it like, on one hand, the Mavs are banking. I mean, obviously making the move. They believe that Luka can't be the guy, that he's not going to condition himself, or he's going to break down, or he's going to be injured, right? So they don't think Luka can be the guy, but they believe that 31, soon to be 32-year-old Anthony Davis, who's had a history. I mean, they gave him the nickname Street Clothes because he's out of the lineup so much. They believe that he can somehow flip his narrative and become an every game player and be awesome and be an elite defensive player. And I mean, he's good. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying he's not Luka. He's not 25 years old, and the Mavs should have got a lot more than what they did. And that's just like, I'm almost like embarrassed, almost embarrassed for Nico. And I don't even know the guy. I mean, I know of him. I know who he is, but we've never met personally. I've never talked to him. But that's embarrassing that he didn't get more. I mean, how do you not get more for one of the top 5 players in the league? Even if you're concerned about his health, and I mean, he's 25 years old. He's a top 5 player, and he could get one pick from 2029. Like, seriously? I don't know. I just, like, that's what I said. I've spent all day just trying to figure out what's going on, and the only, my covering the league for over 30 years, the bottom line is, whether you agree or disagree, time will tell. I'm just saying, for Nico Harrison, and obviously the owners, the new ownership group in Dallas, they're committed to him. He's their guy. He's the one calling the shots. They're letting him run the show. He believes that Luka is not an elite championship winner that they can saddle up and ride. That he believes that they can do better, and they want to move on. I mean, they essentially they fired him. They fired Luka. They said, we don't want him. We love you. We think you're a great player, but we're not ready to commit to that next level of the super max. And rather than do that, they're banking on that they can do better and make the team better and win a championship or more without him. Will that be true? Like I said, we can't answer that today because Luka's 25. You know, who knows? Luka could be a bust like some people think, or he could go to LA and get caught up in there, get caught up in the vibe there and become like a health nut and get in shape. And who knows, maybe getting traded, he'll get upset, he'll be embarrassed, and he'll come into LA with a chip on his shoulder, just like AD coming to Dallas, and he'll want to take his game to another level. You know, who knows? But the initial takeaway is the Mavs and Nico Harrison, and it's frustrating. And I know a whole bunch of people have said that. Mark Stein, who's a good friend of mine, Nick, they've all said the same thing. You know, there's sometimes there's things we just don't. There's conversations, there's discussions, there's stuff under the hood that we don't get to know. That's one of the reasons, one of my jobs that I loved traveling as an NBA beat reporter was getting to go behind the curtain. That's why I wanted to do the job, because I didn't want to just settle for the surface. I wanted to go behind the curtain and find out what's really going on. And that's a whole other skill set. You have to have relationships with people in the organization. You have to have guys that are in there that you can talk to, that can give you information, trust. I'm not traveling with the Mavs right now. I wish I was. I'd love to be there. I'd love to be in the locker room right now to talk to them. Love to get to talk to Jay Kidd, but that's what it is. The Mavs think that they fired him. They don't believe that they can win with him, and time will tell if they're right or they're wrong. All right, we got a lot of people that have jumped in via the comment crew. We're going to take our first time out. When we come back, I'm going to go right to those comments. We're going to get right to it. Once again, the final today, I'm not going to keep mentioning it, 144-101, the final score as the Mavs fall in Cleveland. They were rocked in Cleveland, no pun intended with the whole Cleveland rock thing. Understandably so. I mean, talk about ambushed. You know, you wake up this morning and all that's going on, and to have to go out and play one of the best teams in the league, just completely shell-shocked without Kyrie and PJ and Daniel Gafford. It's a bummer. I was actually, considering the loss the other night in Detroit, I was actually kind of looking forward to seeing how the Mavs would respond to this game, and just didn't happen today. All right, this is the Mavs Postcast. Okay, looking for tickets to your next big event, whether it's a concert, comedy show, or a sports game, finding the right ticket at the right price can be a headache. But with Game Time Picks, it's never been easier. Let me tell you how it works. With Game Time Picks, the app does all of the hard work for you. It curates the best deals, so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. I've been using Game Time Picks for a while now, and here's why I love it. You can curate the deals, so it's really super simple to find great tickets at a great price. And you don't have to sift through thousands of different options. You get right to the point, get in and out. It's great. I recently grabbed a super deal for a prime seat to take my wife to an event. Loved it. Couldn't believe the value. I mean, it was a steal. I waited and it was perfect. And I love the seat view feature. It's a game changer. Before I even hit buy, I can see exactly what my seat will look like in the venue. It's very reassuring. And the best part, you're covered with Game Time. So you get the lowest price, Game Time's lowest price guarantee. And if you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay, welcome back to the Mavs postcast. Jeff Biggs, happy to be with you. Wish it was under better circumstances. Let's get right to the comment crew. Thank you for listening to my Biggs takeaway and my little opening rant there. So let's jump right in. Let's start with James. I refuse to watch the NBA now. This is stupid. Can you imagine Larry Bird or Magic Johnson going to another team to chase a championship? This is bad. If the Lakers win, it needs to be accompanied with an asterisk. Lakers have 0 stars that they drafted and developed. Lakers are buying a ring. This sucks. LeBron is no GOAT. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Michael Jordan led his city to rings. He didn't. And one more from James. Michael Jordan didn't beg for help. He made his teammates better. LeBron is weak. Some strong takes there from James. Well, I'll say this. And this really has nothing. I mean, I'm saying this now, but because it kind of falls into what happened with the trade. But one thing I said in the past about Luka and what's going on and with the injuries and the conditioning is, again, I'm not there in the locker room. I don't know what the trainers are saying or seeing. I don't know. Something happened. Look, you're Nico Harrison, right? And you apparently kind of got the ball rolling on this over a month ago, right, with Rob Pelinka. Something caused him to say, yeah, Luka is a top 5 player, but we can do better, or I don't want him, or I want to do better, or I want to do something else. I don't know what that is. I don't know what happened, but something happened. And again, that's what I said in the outset. Whatever that is, whatever that reason is, he's not going to say that publicly. It's not going to happen. Never. So, I mean, he'll say what he said today, and they kind of go around it, and defense and culture, and those are all great. But you had a top 5 player in the league on your team, and you're giving him away for an aging veteran who's a good player. AD's a double-double guy, great player. But I mean, is he a franchise man? Is he a guy that you say, okay, now we're going to win the championship because we have AD? No. So something happened. There was something behind the scenes, under the hood, caused the Mavs to think, you know what? We love Luka, but I don't know. What is that? What is, I don't know. I don't, but I've said this before in the past. I've been blessed to cover the end of Bird and Magic, Jordan's career. I was there when he won his first title, traveled with Shaq and Kobe, got to know Kobe really, really well. And I've said this before that, back in the day, I mean, you can see it for yourself, but guys like Jordan, Kobe, Bird, Magic, even the bad boy Pistons. I mean, when they would lose in the finals, or they would get to the finals and they would lose, I mean, the winning a championship and getting over that hump and coming back better, I mean, they were all consumed. I mean, that was it. That was everything. I mean, you talk about live, eat, and breathe basketball. I mean, that was their focus. Why did we lose? What do we have to do to make sure that we get better and we get over the hump? And that was that killer instinct, and I've joked a couple of times. I've said I kind of miss Kyrie the killer, because Kyrie was kind of a killer early in his career. And I'm not saying that he's not now. Who knows? Maybe he'll become that guy again now that it's going to be his team here for the near future. But and when you're going for a championship and you're trying to win, you got it. You have to be a killer. You have to be consumed with. I mean, the pain of losing is so bad in your entire soul, your being. That pain of losing is so bad that you'll do anything to not go through that, whatever it takes to win. Now, I'm not saying Luka's not like that, but what I'm trying to connect the dots, and clearly there's some reason why Nico Harrison doesn't feel like Luka can be that guy. So is he right? Is it true? Now here's, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take my last time out and I'm going to give you my response to that and why I'm frustrated. Okay. We'll do that when we come back. This is the Mavs Postcast. All right. Really quickly here, want to let you know that basketball season is heating up, and there is no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With over 10 million members and billions in awarded winnings, Prize Picks makes it easy and fun to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Here's how it works. You just pick more or less on at least 2-player projections, right? And if you're right, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. That's pretty good. This week, if you're looking at the board and selecting more for Jason Tatum on points and more for somebody on assists, the best part, maybe Luka, if he comes back, or AD when he joins the Mavs for rebounds. The best part, Prize Picks keeps it simple. You can set your lineup in less than 60 seconds, and their fast, secure withdrawals mean you get paid quickly when you win. Plus, their Taco Tuesday promo gives you discounted player projections for even more value. So check out the promos tab to tail any of the Super Bowl, the super sweet Millie winners, big game lineups. And if you tail a lineup that goes 3-3, right, you can win a split of $1 million in promo funds. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Okay, our final segment here on the Locked On Mavs, or the Mavs Postcast. Nick and the crew, they have the Locked On Mavs podcast. This is the Postcast. Mavs go down in Cleveland today. So here's the part that frustrates me. And I've never understood it. We've seen it happen before over the years. For whatever reason, and I kind of joke about this sometimes, like with issues in media, like you're in the communications industry, but there's no communication. Well, my issue is, okay, let's say the Mavs, just hear me out. If the Mavs are genuinely concerned, right, they're concerned about Luka and his conditioning, okay, or they're concerned about injuries, or they're concerned about going to the max level with him in July. Okay, that's fair, right? I mean, you're going to give somebody that kind of money and you're concerned and you want to make sure that you're going to get good return, and he's not going to be broken down. For the life of me, I just don't understand why if you're the Mavs and you don't want to talk to Luka directly, and you usually don't, right? The players stay with the coaches, and usually the team deals with the agent. Okay, what it's just beyond me that teams cannot have these conversations with agents and try to get on the same page and try to make a positive out of it. But instead, they develop these, they develop this thought or this mindset like, uh-oh, we can't, he's not the guy. And then it gets to the point where you pull the trigger on a blockbuster deal and he's gone. And who knows? I mean, for all we know, privately, maybe Luka didn't want to go. And, privately, if you would have told him, hey, Luka, we want you to hire a personal trainer, or I'm not saying he did. Who knows? I'm just my point is, it's just unfortunate that when we're talking about superstar players, right, with superstar money, that you should be able to talk. You should be able to be on the same page, and you should be able to. But in this culture that we live in, if something like that got out, then I'm sure the Mavs are worried. Well, then if we say something critical, then he's going to leave, and then we won't get anything from him. Or you can't say anything critical, and you can't, like back in the day, coaches, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson. I mean, they would call guys out publicly, and they would push buttons, and whatever it took, and it worked. But in this day and age, you can't do that. You can't say anything critical. You can't push guys. You can't coach too hard. You can't. And it's not like that with everybody. That's a generalization. I'm not saying every player or every team is like that. It just, I in my heart, what's going on? It's a bummer. I mean, Luka should have been a Mav for life. I mean, he's a once in a lifetime kind of player, and I just, like I said, it's hard for me. I'm a fix it guy. I find solutions, and I like to fix things, and I'm about peace and bringing people together and trying to get the best and trying to get to that championship level. That's just my mentality. I don't like the negative stuff. And so selfishly, I wish it didn't get to this point. I wish there was a way that they could have made it work. I wish there was whatever the issue is with the management and Luka, I wish they could have found a way to fix it and to bridge the gap and to figure out what's going on. But unfortunately, that's not the case. That's not what happened. And for whatever reason, Nico Harrison and the Mavs believe that they will be better off now with Luka in LA as a Laker and Anthony Davis coming to Dallas. Will that be right? Will it work out? No, we'll see. That's what we got for right now. But it's unfortunate, and I know I kind of went all over the place. My mind has been kind of all over the place, but it's interesting, and to say the least, still shocking. I still can't believe it. Like I when I got the news, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a prank. That was like, come on, man. Who's behind whose bogus account is that? What's going on here? But it's not, and it's real. And in this world that we live in, where we get things instantly, and we get reaction and thoughts and everything and info immediately. Like I keep saying, we're not going to have the answer to this one for a long time. And Nico, you heard it at the press conference. I mean, he said it's on him. He said himself, time will tell. He believes in defense. He believes in AD. And without saying it, he, while highlighting the Mavs culture. He believes that the organization and the franchise is better off with Luka Doncic not in that culture. Is he right? Will he be right? Yeah, we'll see. So that's it. I want to thank you for jumping in via the comment crew. Well, real quickly before I go, we spent so much time. As for the game today, I mean, the game was over. I mean, the first quarter, 50-19, the Cavs won the first quarter. The Mavs were completely shell shocked. I mean, look at that starting lineup: Omax, Kyler Kelly, in what is that, game 3 or 4 with the Mavs? Kelly ended up with 12 points and 11 rebounds. Dinwiddie, Clay had 2 points, 1 basket, and Dante Exum with Dante and Jayden Hardy, if you want to look for, I guess, some positives on this dark day. 14 points for Dante in his second game back, 3 assists, and how about 21 off the bench for Jayden Hardy? And that was it. No PJ, no Gafford, no Kyrie. Najee had 12. Kessler Edwards had 8. Quentin Grimes had 11. And Brandon Williams had 6. The Mavs were 12 of 15 from beyond the three-point line. I'm sorry, no, is that correct? No, that's not correct. They were 9 of 44. Excuse me. That's a big miss. 9 of 44 for the Mavs. The Cavs were 26 of 45. The halftime deficit was 91-46. That was the largest in Mavs history and the most points that they had ever given up in a first half. So the icing on the sundae, the cherry on the sundae, if you will. All right, that's going to do it. Hey, I want to encourage you, be sure and check out the Locked On Mavs podcast with Nick and the crew. They'll be on coming up with their post also tomorrow, and we will be back with you again on Tuesday after the Mavs take on the Sixers in Philadelphia. Hopefully we'll have some more information on a lot of different things. But in the meantime, thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me. I really appreciate it very much. And we'll have more to say here over the next week. But once again, the final score, the Cavs over the Mavs, 144-101. Thanks for listening and watching. This has been the Mavs Postcast.